Chapter 62. Underground Holy Spring. Yuang's diligent cultivation was for himself. Even if his father, Mu Joyan, had arranged a magic duel for him a year from now, Yuang genuinely did not put this matter in his heart. "Why don't you head over? I'll be right there with you," he told him. Yuang nodded as he walked toward the master's house. After going through an artificial garden, Yuang stepped into an unusual little courtyard. In a European-styled mansion like this, having an antique tea house was extremely strange. "Father, I don't understand why you have arranged a boring duel for me." Yuang sat down to the side as he addressed Mu Joyan. "If we were to only invite high-class people, family members, and people of your age on your coming-of-age ceremony, then that would be extremely dreary. The opportunity of gathering the most important and well-known people of Bo City into a single place is quite difficult. If there were to be a duel during your coming-of-age ceremony, then I'm sure a lot of people would have a more positive opinion of you. There are certain matters which older generations like me just cannot interfere with. Thus, you need to use your own superior strength to subdue the seniors and peers watching you. This way, you will also gain prestige. Having that will assist you greatly when you control the city later on." Mu Joyan sipped the tea as he talked about his plans. "Then you should arrange for me a more suitable opponent," Yuang replied. "In the beginning, I also thought that having a small character like this would be child's play for you during your coming-of-age ceremony, so I was also considering whether I should have arranged for someone more appropriate. However, now it doesn't seem that way anymore. After all, it's essentially a battle between me, Deng Kai, and Principal Zhu," Mu Joyan said. "What do you mean?" Yuang was confused as he asked. "Your opponent, Mo Fan, has already grasped the second level of Fire Burst. The progress of his cultivation has exceeded everyone's expectations. Being able to achieve this kind of result in just a short year means he's not just some minor character. Presently, he is the most outstanding student of Tianlan Magic High, and he has gained the attention of Deng Kai, Zhang Kong, and Principal Zhu. Now, if I wanted to pull anything on this kid, I believe the others most likely wouldn't let me do it. This really has caught me by surprise. The cultivation of the son of a driver is actually not any slower than the preeminent disciples of our ancestral families. If he was more discreet, then you wouldn't have to know anything about the matters between Deng Kai and I," Mu Joyan explained with a cold smile. "In that case, there might be some interesting things happening." Yuang looked greatly relieved. If a weak opponent were to appear at his coming-of-age ceremony, then that wouldn't be earning himself any prestige. Instead, it would be giving this scoundrel his spotlight, as well as not being able to demonstrate the strength that exceeded his peers of the same age. The Mu family regarded the younger generation's coming-of-age ceremonies as their most important, and it could be said that the coming-of-age ceremony was their grandest ceremony. If the youths were strong, then the family clan was strong. This would allow them to claim power within Bo City at an early age. Having the older generations jumping out and showing off their strength wasn't always appropriate. If they were to have their younger generations of disciples demonstrate their overwhelming dominance to their peers, wouldn't that be demonstrating the Mu family's absolute power? Mu Ningzhu was at the imperial capital, which was at an even higher domain. Bo City would also need an outstanding young magician who could carry the banner, right? Yuang was an excellent successor for controlling the city. Mu Joyan wanted to meticulously nurture him so that he could stand at the peak of Bo City. Whether the path of the future would be smooth would naturally depend on the beginning. Other disciples' coming-of-age ceremonies could be arranged in a small manner. However, Yuang's coming-of-age ceremony needed to be grand. It had to have grandeur, it had to have guests, and it had to amaze the world. That brat Mo Fan does indeed exceed our expectations. However, he is only a stepping stone for the growth of an elite youngster like Yuang. However, would this scheming Mu Joyan tell Yuang that he was allowing the young man to be nurtured with a large amount of resources, so that when he reached a high position and held a large power, he would only be someone else's stepping stone? That person would be Mu Joyan's biological daughter, Mu Ningzhu. Mu Ningzhu is the most perfect successor for Mu Joyan. Since Bo City was too small, his only choice was to nurture another trusted aide so he could properly control Bo City and the native lands of the family. Don't worry, after the end of the coming-of-age ceremony, I will open up the underground holy spring of Bo City for you. You will have a week's worth of cultivation time in there. This 1 week will be enough to allow your cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. Then your peers in Bo City will no longer be placed in your eyes. Mu Joyan said calmly, Father, is that underground holy spring really that magical? Yuang's eyes glistened as he asked this. Of course. You know of a stardust magic tool, right? This underground holy spring is equivalent to a stardust magic tool that reinforces your strength by countless times. It doesn't just simply ease your fatigue, it is also a holy ground for the nurturing of your cultivation speed. Whether it is meditation or control, the spring is the most perfect place for it. The underground holy spring isn't something you can open at will. Thus, once you enter, you will have to put your entire mind into cultivation. This is because this could possibly be the best opportunity for you to attack the intermediate level. Mu Joyan said, Intermediate? Aren't I still quite a bit far from that? Yuang was a bit startled. If you didn't enter the underground holy spring, then you would still be quite far from it. However, if you were to obtain the opportunity this time, then that would be different, Mu Joyan said as he rubbed his mustache. Father, just how did this underground holy spring of Bo City come to be? How can it have such an incredible effect? The underground holy spring has a long history. There is no need for you to know it. All you need to remember is that the underground holy spring is an amazing cultivation opportunity that you only get once in your life. Mu Joyan no longer said anything else. Yuang nodded several times in understanding. Assuming that it was able to allow a person to break through the primary level and tread upon the intermediate level which many yearned for, this underground holy spring of Bo City was indeed extremely important. Chapter 63. Strange Occurrences in the Old Streets. In the remaining time of the summer break, Mo Fan kept on cultivating. The city hunter team wasn't exactly a very busy job. Most of the time, he was just adjusting his life. After Mo Fan had finished 2 more bounty missions with the city hunter team, he finally left the realm of a rookie. He was able to stay even more calm as he cast his spells when faced with a magical beast. Advancing his battle experience along with his cultivation, Mo Fan unexpectedly discovered that his Stardust's growth was even faster. As his Stardust grew, naturally, the usable stars were also transforming. On the day he started his 3rd year of high school, Mo Fan had successfully transformed the lightning stars. They had turned increasingly bright, and the radiating stars were able to conduct increasingly stronger lightning magic. Thus, the used spells naturally changed as well. Next time when I go out on a mission with the city hunter team, they will surely be surprised. Mo Fan was sitting in class. He felt particularly happy. Currently, his lightning strike and fire burst had both achieved the 2nd stage. This advancement speed had far exceeded his peers. If he was able to reach the 3rd stage by his graduation, then that would be even more perfect. It was said that when the stars had transformed into the 3rd stage, then one would be rather close to breaking through to intermediate level mage. Mo Fan had no idea when he would reach the intermediate level. However, he would definitely exhaust all methods to make himself stronger. School life was still just like that. After going through the practicals, the student's temperament had a clear transformation. On top of that, the magic entrance exams were near, so those students who were usually slacking, in particular, were giving their best as they frequently appeared on the training grounds. Mo Fan himself didn't go to the training grounds. What was the use of hitting a wooden puppet? He had directly changed these meaningless practices and exercises into real combat against magical beasts. That kind of progress was many times more effective than hitting the wooden puppets at the school training grounds. Brother Fan, did you realize it? Ever since practicals, the arrogant class representative, Joman, has been treating you really well, Zhang Xiaohou whispered into Mo Fan's ear. Really? Mo Fan asked as he raised his eyebrows. Of course, sometimes, she would even sneakily glance over here. Isn't it because I'm handsome? If you were to put it like that, then I can't do anything about it. However, if it was because you're handsome, then she wouldn't have been so harsh on you when the school began. She is harsh on every single person, however, when it comes to you, her entire person changes. She becomes like a next-door little sister, cute and obedient, Zhang Xiaohou stated. Presently, Mo Fan went to class in the morning and cultivated in the afternoon. At night, he has to wear a uniform to protect the peace of this city. How could he have time to care about a young girl's heart? Moreover, he already had a heroic spirit that would save thousands of girls from their sufferings, thus, occasionally obtaining a few girls' affections. Isn't that a common thing? See, She's coming over here to find you. Tisk tisk, brother Fan, I'll retreat first. Zhang Xiaohou was indeed a qualified friend. There are certain friends who are as stupid as pigs, they just love being a light mage. Mo Fan raised his head and saw that Zhouman really was coming his way. Seeing her appearance, embarrassed yet excited, it truly made one feel pity for her. Zhouman looked quite elegant with squeaky clean black hair over her shoulders, and a delicate face that carried the arrogance of many young girls. Normally, they naturally treated boys like devils and so they kept their distance. However, the truth was, it was just impossible for them to conceal their warm hearts. Mo Fan, do you have time tonight? Zhouman whispered after she walked over. Tonight? He still had to consolidate the level 2 spell of Lightning Strike. Zhouman, oh, Zhouman. As the class representative, you should be wholeheartedly focusing on your studies. How could you let your heart focus on mundane things? We are third-year high schoolers who are about to become university students. This year is extremely important, it will affect the future. If you were to let your heart distract you this early, then it will bring nothing good for anyone. Therefore, Mo Fan nodded as he said, I'm available, to Zhouman. Zhouman immediately opened her eyes widely and said, wait for me after school. I need to tell you something really important. No problem. Mo Fan nodded his head. He was thinking of whether he should have Zhang Xiaohou go and prepare a small umbrella, just in case he would need it. After the school ended, a large crowd of students rushed toward the exit. Zhouman was indeed true to her words. She was waiting for Mo Fan at the back gate of the school. Mo Fan walked over, and as he was about to open his mouth, Zhouman mysteriously said, Mo Fan, I'm not sure if I should be telling you about this matter, but I also don't know anyone who is more suitable. As Mo Fan heard this, he suddenly had no idea what to expect. It's like this. My grandma's house is on Rongshu Street. It is an old district that is going to be rebuilt into a new one. During the summer break, I went back to live with my grandmother, and then I frequently felt trembling sounds from the construction site next door. It seemed like there were construction workers doing their jobs. However, I asked some people and they all said that they don't do construction work at night. My grandma always said that the large old district that is about to turn into ruins has something living there. I tried to have my grandmother move away, but she refused to leave the place. Therefore, I was hoping you would come with me and see what exactly is happening. Otherwise, I won't feel safe leaving my grandmother there alone. I'd feel scared at night, Zhouman said to Mo Fan sincerely. After hearing Zhouman's words, Mo Fan couldn't help but feel shocked. Construction site trembling? Shit, last time there was a cafeteria, and this time, there's a construction site trembling. This Bo City was getting toyed with too much. Don't tell me it's another colossal-eyed ape rat? Mo Fan began to think. Colossal-eyed ape rat? That's a magical beast. Bo City shouldn't have those kinds of things, right? Zhouman blurted out in shock. Zhouman still had lingering fears from facing the dread of a magical beast the last time. That's not a strange thing at all. The news from the Hunters Union states that during this period of time, the colossal-eyed ape rat is acting as though they're entering the mating season. There are frequent cases of them popping out from dark corners. Mo Fan was already used to seeing strange things. If he was lingering around school, Mo Fan would be the same as Zhouman, thinking that Bo City was 100% safe and that there would not be any magical beasts appearing. However, being in the city hunter team, Mo Fan could count as having experience and knowledge. How do you say this? Little classmate, Zhouman, you really found the right person. This brother's other identity is an officer of Bo City, and because we only clean the magical beasts within Bo City, we are definitely more specialized. Sigh, I won't be able to receive commission this time. However, getting the girl's affection isn't exactly a bad thing either. Let's go and take a look. Arriving at the old district, it was just as Zhouman had described. This part of the city had already been demolished. It looked as though it had just experienced a severe earthquake. Dust pervaded the demolished district, and there were temporary walls and holes all over the construction sites. A half-demolished house was just left there. It affected the appearance of the area as they erected another unfinished tower. I heard that the old Rongshu district is going to be rebuilt into a new commercial district. In the end, there was a severe shortage in the investment, thus, they left behind a remnant of what it used to be in this part of the city, and even the government doesn't know how to deal with it. Most of the people had already moved from this district. There were wanderers and vagrants who decided to stay here temporarily due to difficulties. The remaining ones who stayed behind were the old people who refused to move away, like Joman's old grandmother.